Here's the headline that matters tonight. An independent social media insights report has put a dollar figure on the Indiana Fever's online footprint, and the number turns the WNBA conversation on its head. The valuation is striking on its face. According to a newly released WNBA social rankings and insight report compiled by STN Digital in partnership with the analytics and measurement platform Zoomph, and highlighted by national business outlets including Forbes, the Indiana Fever generated an estimated $55.4 million in social media value this season. That figure isn't a typo, and it isn't a projection. It's a calculation of what the same reach and engagement would have cost to buy through paid media. In other words, if a brand wanted to purchase the impressions and interactions the Fever drove organically on Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube between May 16th and September 11th, the ad bill would have landed north of $55 million. Set that number down, then look at the distance to second place. The Dallas Wings came in at $8.61 million. The gap between first and second isn't a crack. It's a canyon, more than $46 million wide. Third belonged to the Las Vegas Aces at $764 million fourth, the New York Liberty at $750 million fifth, the Chicago Sky at $635 million. These aren't marginal differences. They show one franchise operating at a scale the rest of the league did not approach this season. The report tracked more than 20,000 pieces of WNBA content across the 4 major platforms. It examined impressions, engagement actions, and the estimated media value associated with those outcomes. It didn't grade on vibe, it measured outputs, what audiences saw and how they interacted, and attached a market rate. That's why the Fever's total matters. It's not a narrative, it's a price tag. Context makes it even more compelling. Across the study window, Indiana delivered 38.73 million engagements and 1.17 billion impressions. Billion with a B. That's the kind of annual footprint some established men's teams would celebrate across all channels. For a WNBA franchise that, not long ago, was fighting for national relevance, it's a sea change. One piece of content illustrates the point. The report flagged a single Fever YouTube video valued at more than $750,000 in equivalent ad exposure. Not a series, not a season roll-up, one upload. The message to sponsors is unmistakable. This audience doesn't just scroll past. It stops, watches, shares, and returns. If you follow the league daily, you already know what sits at the center of this surge. Caitlin Clark's arrival in Indiana rewired the WNBA attention economy. Her shooting range altered the geometry of the half-court. Her passing flair moved defenses and, more importantly for this conversation, moved people into arenas, into broadcast windows, and into social feeds in unprecedented volumes. The Fever's social channels leaned into that reality during the season and after it, posting a steady cadence of highlights, behind-the-scenes clips, and off-court moments that gave fans reasons to keep tapping. That continuity matters. Algorithms reward consistency, and fan communities notice when a team meets their appetite. But it's lazy to chalk this up to a single name and ignore the machinery behind the number. Indiana's content worked because it was well planned and well executed. STN Digital's fingerprints are on parts of the strategy, and the Fever's internal team delivered on the day-to-day with tone, timing, and access that matched the moment. Even the best storylines can be squandered by flat storytelling. Indiana didn't squander anything. It packaged a phenomenon and gave it a runway. The methodology deserves a closer look, because it explains why the figure is persuasive to brands. The report uses a social value metric, Zoomph specialty, to translate impressions and engagements into estimated media cost. Think of it as a rate card for attention. If 500,000 people see a post and 50,000 actively interact with it, what would a comparable ad buy cost to produce the same reach and actions? The model settles on a number. That approach mirrors how advertisers think. It turns soft outcomes into a ledger line, which is why the gap at the top is so hard to dismiss. If WNBA growth this year had been evenly distributed across many stars and many markets, you'd expect to see a tight band of teams clustered near the top. Instead, Indiana sits 5 times higher than second place. That doesn't mean other players didn't matter. It does mean the Fever's star power, content strategy, and fan behavior created something the rest of the league didn't replicate. The Wings' showing is still significant. A year-over-year jump of 55% in engagement and a 34% climb in social value shows a franchise grabbing momentum. Dallas has leaned into personality-driven content around its scorers and has been rewarded for it. Across the league, players like Sophie Cunningham have demonstrated how a distinct voice translates into search interest, brand deals, and social traction. Her campaigns with national brands are proof that audience energy converts when the personality is clear. That model traveled in Dallas, even if it couldn't match Indiana's scale. The Las Vegas Aces make another useful point. They're the dynasty of the moment on the floor, with multiple championships and a locker room full of stars. And they still finished third in social value. That's not a knock. It's a reminder that wins alone don't guarantee digital dominance. Audiences respond most strongly to personality, access, and storytelling that invites them into a journey. On-court excellence helps, but it's not the whole equation. New York's placement raises similar questions. The Liberty operate in the country's largest media market. Many of their games air in premium windows, and they deliver a polished brand experience. Fourth place at $7.5 million is a healthy total. It's also proof that geography is not destiny. A big city can amplify attention. It can't manufacture it without content that resonates. The Chicago Sky landing fifth may be the number that upends the most debates from the past year. A constant media drumbeat framed the season as a two-star story, with multiple rookies credited as equal drivers of the W's rising tide. The report's math cuts through that framing. The Fever's social value outpaced the Sky by roughly $48.69 million. That's not a marginal edge. It's a different stratosphere. You can argue about style points. You can't argue with the scoreboard that looks like that. Predictably, some reactions tried to relocate credit from the court to the content room. Indiana's strategy was better. Indiana's team posted more often. Indiana's editors hit trend notes more cleanly. The simplest response is also the most honest. The best social teams in sports are demand-driven, not supply-led. They don't create interest, they capture it. The Fever's posts outperformed because the audience arrived hungry and kept coming back. Caitlin Clark made a local channel feel national. Indiana's staff recognized that and served the moment. There's a larger lesson here for the league office. Star marketing works. Sports are not a 6=10 equation, where distributing attention evenly creates the biggest pie. Fans build connections with individual athletes. They buy specific jerseys, camp out for signature shoe drops, and change their schedules to catch one player's game live. The WNBA's growth curve over the past 18 months has tracked star-first storytelling, more dedicated features, more mic'd-up segments, more day-in-the-life content. Indiana's $55.4 million valuation is a billboard-sized argument to keep going. The business implications for the Fever are direct and immediate. When you can sit across the table from a partner and show 1.17 billion impressions and nearly 39 million engagements between mid-May and mid-September, you have leverage. Brands pay premiums for engaged audiences. Indiana has proof of both engagement and scale. That translates into real revenue through jersey patches, presenting sponsorships, branded content series, and platform integrations that carry a measurable return. The sponsorship deck just got heavier. It also reframes roster and resource priorities. When one player's presence correlates with 8-figure media value, you don't treat their experience as a nice-to-have. You make it a mandate. That means performance and recovery investment, travel upgrades where rules allow, content access that balances privacy and personality, and a year-round plan that keeps the engine warm in the months between seasons. Star retention is not just a basketball goal, it's an economic necessity. For other clubs, the report reads like a challenge. A single franchise in single-digit millions can't shrug at a competitor's 55. The gap is too big, the opportunity too obvious. Closing it won't happen by copying Indiana post for post or chasing the latest platform trend. It starts with honest audits. Which players on your roster spark the most organic conversation? What access do fans actually want? What verticals, community work, fashion, film, family feel authentic to your locker room? Then build series around those answers. Consistency beats bursts. Specificity beats generic hype. There's tactical work to be done too. Short caption lines that set stakes without giving away the clip. Thumb-stopping first seconds. Audio that's cleared and optimized. Thumbnails that feature faces over logos. Posting calendars that respect platform rhythms. Mornings on YouTube, afternoons on X, evening on Instagram, without flooding feeds. Most of all, a point of view. Fans can spot content made by committee. The Fever's best posts felt like a door opening, not a press release dressed in emojis. The salary conversation will surface in comment sections, and this time the numbers have receipts. The current WNBA compensation model doesn't peg pay to social impact or market value the way some men's leagues do, with revenue-sharing mechanisms and individual incentive pools. That's a collective bargaining question, not a thread for this video, but it's fair to say quantified media value strengthens the case for structures that reward the players whose brands demonstrably expand the league's reach. A final word on the model itself. Estimated media value is not a perfect science. No model can know what every impression is worth to every brand. Rates vary by category, by season, by demographic, but this is as close as the industry gets to apples. It's the same math Fortune 500 companies use to decide whether to invest in a team, a tour, or a content slate. It's why the Fever's number will land on CMO desks with a sticky note that says, "Take this meeting." If you're a traditionalist who prefers to measure a franchise by banners and box scores, none of this replaces the importance of wins. It does explain why the business side of sport now sits closer to the court than ever. Digital attention funds facilities, staff, and longevity. For a league that has long fought for space on national stages, a season's worth of data saying the spotlight is here, and that one team is carrying it farther than anyone else, should be taken seriously. There's space for nuance. The Wings earned their improvement and deserve credit for meeting fans where they are. The Aces and Liberty proved that sustained excellence and a strong market can produce healthy media value even without a singular viral magnet. The Sky's top 5 showing tells you their audience is real and responsive, but there's no prudent way to read this report without acknowledging who sits at the center of the W's current attention economy. Indiana didn't just win a ranking, it lapped the field. The inevitable question is what comes next. For the Fever, the assignment is to sustain without burning out the feed. Keep the cadence. Widen the lens beyond one person while still understanding where the gravity lives. Give fans new angles, film room snippets, performance stories, community days, so the story grows in depth, not just frequency. For the league, the assignment is to keep saying yes to star-driven programming while investing in the production muscle that makes it sing. The WNBA Finals will always be the tentpole. The clips between May and September pay the bills that help build it. One last figure to carry into the off-season. A single Indiana Fever video was valued at more than $750,000. There are WNBA teams whose entire seasonal social value did not reach that number. That's not an insult to those clubs. It's a summary of where the audience currently lives. You can argue about what got them there. You can't argue about where they are. The WNBA's growth is real. Attendance is up, ratings are up, team valuations are climbing. The product on the floor has never been better. Tighter defenses, smarter schemes, deeper benches. But growth is not evenly distributed, and this report quantifies that reality with a clarity the sport hasn't had before. One franchise is generating a professional sports-sized media footprint in a league that has long fought to be measured on the same scale. Everyone benefits from that energy: broadcasters, sponsors, road gates, and rivals who draw their best numbers when the Fever come to town. The takeaway is simple, and it's not personal, it's math. Indiana Fever social media value, $55.4 million, Dallas Wings, $8.61 million, Las Vegas Aces, $764 million, New York Liberty, $750 million, Chicago Sky, $635 million, a billion impressions, nearly 40 million engagements, one video worth more than some entire seasonal totals. The numbers aren't opinions, they're outcomes, and for a league finally getting the spotlight it deserves, they're a roadmap for how to keep it.